watching Ravens Rundown, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. Coming up on today's show, we're going to take an inside look at our NFL Daily Show from our main Chat Sports channel, where we did a mailbag this week and answered all sorts of questions heading into NFL free agency, and had a lot of questions specifically about your Baltimore Ravens. What are they going to do when it comes to OBJ and Patrick Queen? We will dive in and discuss all of that and more and get you ready for NFL free agency beginning on Monday, coming up in just a matter of moments. Before we do, speaking of free agency, we are all over it like no one else is here on Ravens Rundown. If the Ravens make a move, we're going to talk about it here on the channel. We're going to bring you a video as quick as we can over the coming days. So lock us in, subscribe now for free, never miss a moment. We got you covered here on the channel over the next couple of weeks. Should be exciting. Can't wait to see what the Ravens roster ultimately looks like as this team tries to get back to the AFC Championship game. We'll talk about it all right here on Ravens Rundown. Subscribe now for free, and we'll get started with today's show. First question in the mailbag this week comes from Cool Guy 43. What will happen to OBJ? So, Odell Beckham Jr. set to hit free agency. And it's interesting. You've looked at OBJ, and he's played for 3 different teams in his last 2 seasons. Was with the Cleveland Browns, got traded to the LA Rams, took a year off as he recovered from the torn ACL, and then he came back and played for the Baltimore Ravens. This past year with the Baltimore Ravens, it was up and down. We saw flashes of brilliance from OBJ where he looked like the old OBJ, right? And then there were other times where he kind of just disappeared, where you might as well have put him on a milk carton because he was missing, right? I mean, that's what we saw at OBJ at times. So what I think, OBJ got paid a decent amount of money last year. I don't think that he's going to get that same money that he got a season ago. And I think the Ravens are going to find a way to bring OBJ back. Maybe not for the money he got last go-round, but the Ravens need help with the receiver position. The Ravens are very close to competing among the best in the AFC for a potential Super Bowl title. I think he ultimately ends up back in Baltimore, but he'll have some teams interested. Let's ask you, will the Ravens bring back OBJ? Our pinned comment today, if you believe they will, type OBJ for yes. If not, type no BJ for no. OBJ for yes, no BJ for no. Let us know in the comments section. Alex writes in, any chance the Ravens re-sign Patrick Queen? Now, this is where it gets difficult for the Baltimore Ravens. Well, I do think they find a way to bring OBJ back. I don't think Patrick Queen's coming back. I think the Ravens basically had a choice between Justin Madubuike and Patrick Queen of who they wanted to bring back. And Madubuike is more important at the interior of the defensive line. He's a better football player than Patrick Queen. And you essentially already found his replacement with drafting Trenton Simpson last year out of Clemson. I think Patrick Queen, they're going to let walk. Now, what's malpractice on the part of Eric DeCosta, the Ravens GM, if he walks away for nothing, is the fact that you could have traded him last offseason and gotten something for him. Instead, you're going to have to settle for a future comp pick, which won't be close to the value you could have gotten in a trade here. To me, that's a missed opportunity. I would be surprised if Queen is back in Baltimore. I know they've said that they want him back and all this, and that, you know, they want to throw the money out there. They believe he's an all-pro caliber player, but we've gone this long and there's still no deal. So I don't think Patrick Queen's coming back, but we'll see. Where do you guys think Patrick Queen will sign in free agency? If it's not Baltimore, where will it be? Way in the comment section, give me a team that comes to mind that you think Patrick Queen will ultimately end up playing for. Mike writes in, who would you sign for KC, Hollywood Brown or Tyler Boyd? So you look at the Kansas City Chiefs offense, and it's an incredible story last year of them winning the Super Bowl under the circumstances they did of having an awful receiving core. And the thing that's been missing since Tyreek Hill left town was the vertical passing game, the deep threat. Now, what it's caused is Patrick Mahomes has become a more mature passer because he's not just chucking it downfield and taking a bunch of chances that are unnecessary. He's become a more accurate passer in the process of not forcing things downfield. Now I think's the time where Patrick Mahomes has matured enough as a passer that you go get him that deep threat to try to stretch out the passing game again. And for me, a guy like Hollywood Brown would be a perfect fit for what the Kansas City Chiefs are trying to do. Rashee Rice, I thought, took a huge step in the right direction. You look at Travis Kelce, he's going to be another year older, so you got to start thinking about, okay, how can we make this receiving core better, knowing that we're probably going to take another step back with Travis here. I think Hollywood Brown makes a ton of sense, and I don't think he would cost a ton either after not having a great run with the Arizona Cardinals the last 2 seasons. Elvin in the room writes in, how aggressive do you think the Philadelphia Eagles will be in free agency? Howie Roseman is one of the most aggressive GMs in the NFL. Every offseason, Howie is taking chances, whether it comes to free agency or trades. They are always one of the teams to watch when it comes to the free agency period. I believe that we're going to see the Eagles be aggressive, make some moves to try to move heaven and earth of sorts, because you look at that Eagles team and, you know, they did not even come close to expectations this past season. They were the best team in the NFL up until November, and then things fell apart from there. And so they got to do some soul searching and try to retool this roster a bit to get back into championship contention, and I believe they can. Junior writes in, should the Patriots sign Joe Flacco and the Patriots draft a quarterback at the number 3 pick? You know, I like Joe Flacco a lot, and I was very impressed with what he did with the Cleveland Browns. I was glad that he won the NFL Comeback Player of the Year and not that fraud DeMar Hamlin this past year. With that said, if I'm Joe Flacco, I don't want anything to do with the New England Patriots. The Patriots are likely going to be the worst team in the NFL next year. They at least have the worst roster on paper. If you're Joe Flacco, okay, I would do the exact same thing that I did with the Cleveland Browns, where I just wait on the sidelines, wait for somebody to get hurt, and I know I'm going to be the first phone call. Then you don't have to go through training camp and all that shenanigans and all that. It wouldn't be a bad idea for New England to bring Joe Flacco in and make him their starter, and then whoever they draft at 3, whether it be Drake May or Jaden Daniels, sit behind Joe Flacco until they're ready. But I think it'd be a waste of Joe Flacco's time to go to New England, if we're going to be honest. Michael writes in, can the Falcons afford help on defense if they sign Captain Kirk? Great question. That remains to be seen. The Falcons are very close. They're literally a quarterback away from being the favorites in the NFC South. Cousins could be the difference there. And then you hope to find some cash. It's going to be very close. I think that if you spend the money on Cousins, that's pretty much going to be your spending. I would not expect a whole lot of other free agent signings after that. At that point, you're hoping to build through the draft. The Falcons have the number 8 pick, I believe, so they should be picking high throughout the draft and go get more defensive talent from there. So if you get Cousins, as they say, everything should work itself out. Who's the player you want your team to sign in free agency? There's plenty of great players available this go-round. Weigh in the comment section. Let us know a player that comes to mind that you would like to see play for your favorite squad. Thanks for joining us here on this edition of NFL Daily. Subscribe now. Lock us in for the latest happenings across the National Football League all offseason long, and we'll see you next time.